Good morning and welcome to the Daily Cyber Briefing for Tuesday, the 6th of August. I'm Stephen Ridgway. There is a new zero-day flaw in Apache's OffBiz ERP, which allows remote code execution. The vulnerability is being tracked as CVE 2024-38856 with a CVSS score of 9.8. Which makes it fairly serious if you're running Apache's OffBiz Enterprise Resource Planning System. It is basically a vulnerability in the authentication mechanism that allows users to access functions that should generally require the user to be logged in, which therefore paves the way for remote code execution. So the versions that are vulnerable are all versions prior to 18.12.15. So if you are using Apache's open source enterprise resource planning system, recommend that you upgrade to 18.12.15. The patch also fixes CVE 2024-36104, which is a path traversal vulnerability. If you haven't patched to 18.12.14, which was the previous patch for this, then upgrade. This upgrade will address both. Google has fixed Android kernel 0-day, which is being exploited in targeted attacks. So Android security updates this month patch 46 vulnerabilities, but in amongst them is a high severity remote code execution vulnerability being tracked as CVE 2024 36971. It's a use after free weakness in the Linux kernel's network root management components. Requires system execution privileges for successful exploitation, but it does allow for the altering of behavior of certain network connections. So it is, yes, it's been patched in this latest round. So if you are using Android, hopefully you are keeping on top of patches. Just as also as a quick reminder, sure you know, but it's always better to be bored with information than to forget about it. Not all Androids are created equal, so if you are using native Android direct from Google, all well and good. If you are using if you're using the version of Android that is maintained by your device vendor, it is worth checking that these updates have been applied, because as we know, whilst most vendors are pretty good at keeping on top of this stuff, they are generally reliant in one way or another on Android releasing, Google releasing stuff first of all. So definitely keep an eye, and if your device, even if your device is set to auto update, it is always worth periodically going in and nudging it, because even things that are supposed to auto update don't always update. Oh, and actually, as a reminder, which it caught me out actually caught me out for a short period of time in a vulnerability management review we were doing at work. Some applications require you to fire up the application in order to trigger their auto update processes, and some things don't. So some things will update just because of the operating system. Microsoft stuff will just tend to keep itself up to date. Adobe stuff runs an updater in the background, which, well, as long as you've enabled it, which should keep things up to date regardless of how often you use them. But a lot of other apps don't. One that caught me out, Wireshark. Hadn't used Wireshark for a little while, and it had got out of date. Fired it up and it immediately updated itself. So, yeah, always worth making sure you understand what you've got on your devices, understand whether they are actually auto-updating, on whether you need to manually go and prod them occasionally. And even if they are supposed to be manually updating, it is worth having a look every now and then just to make sure that they are doing what they are supposed to be doing. Then finally from me today, UK-based mobile device management vendor Mobile Guardian has admitted that on the 4th of August it suffered a security incident that involved unauthorized access to iOS and Chrome OS devices via its tools. The tools are currently unavailable. In Singapore, the incident resulted in 13,000 devices being remotely wiped and saw the nation's education ministry cut ties with the vendor. Now, just as an aside, they do a damn good job in Singapore when it comes to cybersecurity. I suppose one could say unsurprising given their position in the world, location in the world, but they are very good. So it is worth listening to stuff that's coming from official sources in Singapore regarding cyber stuff. Mobile Guardian, it focuses on the education sector, offers device management, web filtering, classroom management tools, other bits and pieces. Got customers in Europe and North America as well. But unfortunately, it got had. So if you are a user of Mobile Guardian software, be aware of this, or if you know of people responsible for IT in the education sector, it might be worth bringing this to their attention just in case they use it, as it's quite commonly used. Maybe you're already aware of it, but it is definitely something to be on top of. It is sad to see, and it is one of those things that we all need to be very aware of in if we work in the cyber industry, that if you provide tooling or services that are intended to protect your customers, you will be a target yourself. Not you could be, but you will be a target yourselves. So making sure that your own cybersecurity is top notch is kind of a prerequisite to being in our game, to be honest. So I sincerely hope that Mobile Guardian is able to address this stuff and is able to reassure their customers that these issues are being dealt with and will not reoccur. Unfortunately, the reality is, as with the Singapore Education Ministry, a lot of customers will cut ties over this sort of stuff, which is a real shame for a UK-based security organisation that has otherwise, I think, not done a bad job, to the best of my knowledge. One to just be aware of. Well, that's all from me for today. I hope you have a good Tuesday.